Celestial ones, have you ever wondered why your life feels like a constant test? Why your struggles seem tailor-made for you, and yet you come out stronger every single time? What if I told you that your blood, your very essence, was tested in the divine lab of heaven, that every trial, every battle, was part of a master plan to confirm one undeniable truth? You are chosen by God. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine a scientist in a heavenly lab holding up a vial of your spiritual jewels are gathered, observing the intricate blueprint of your soul. Every scar, every wound, and every triumph is recorded in divine detail. The results? A declaration that echoes through eternity. This one is set apart. This one. Does that send chills down your spine? It should. Because today we're diving deep into why God has marked you, why your tests are so unique, and how you can embrace your divine calling with unwavering faith. Stick with me, celestial ones, because this isn't just a video. It's your wake-up call. It's time to understand what being chosen truly means and how to step into the purpose God has designed for you. So grab a seat. Stay tuned and let's journey into the spiritual lab where God crafts his chosen vessels. What does it mean to be chosen? Being chosen isn't a badge of honor meant to elevate you above others. It's a mantle of responsibility, a divine calling, and sometimes a testing ground for your faith and character. Let's dive into what this truly means and why it's both a privilege and a challenge. Chosen by God, the imperfect vessels, God's pattern of choosing is delightfully unconventional. He doesn't pick the flawless, the powerful, or instead, he chooses the broken, the overlooked, and the underqualified. Take Moses, for instance. A man who stammered so badly he doubted his ability to speak for God. Yet this same man delivered an entire nation from slavery. Or consider David, a shepherd boy dismissed by his own family but handpicked to become Israel's greatest king. Why does God choose like this? Because he's not looking at outward appearances. He's searching hearts. He knows that his strength is made perfect in our weakness, Corinthians 12:9. When you're chosen, God doesn't demand perfection. He promises transformation. A unique purpose for a broken world. Being chosen means being set apart. Not for self-glory, but for God's glory. It's like being given a sacred key to unlock doors of hope and healing in a world desperate for light. Your mission might not come with fame, wealth, or applause. Instead, it often involves quiet acts of love, kindness, and courage that ripple into eternity. For example, think about Esther. She was placed in a royal position for such a time as this after 14, not to bask in luxury, but to save her people. When God chooses you, he entrusts you with a purpose that aligns with his grand plan, a plan that often requires you to step out of your comfort zone and into the unknown. The challenge of being chosen, let's be real. Being chosen isn't always glamour. It often feels like you're on the advanced track of life's challenges. While others are cruising along, you're grappling with tests in patience, faith, and resilience. Why? Because God is refining you, building spiritual muscles, and preparing you for the weight of your calling. Consider Joseph. Betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, and imprisoned for a crime he didn't commit. Joseph's journey seemed like a series of misfortunes, but every trial was a stepping stone to his ultimate purpose, saving nations during a famine. Being chosen often involves seasons of hardship, not because God has abandoned you, but because he's equipping you for greater things. God sees your potential. Here's the truth that should light a fire in your soul. God sees in you what others overlook. He sees your ability to impact lives, reflect his love, and bring healing to broken places. When he calls you, it's not because you're ready. It's because he's ready to shape you. When you feel the weight of being chosen, remember this. God is with you every step of the way. The same God who empowered Moses, guided David, and raised Joseph to prominence is working in you. Your calling is a sacred trust, a divine adventure, and an opportunity to shine his light in a world that desperately needs it. And yes, sometimes it does feel like extra homework. But trust this. Every test and trial is crafting you into the person God has destined you to become. Embrace it, because being chosen means you're part of a bigger, beautiful story written by the author of life itself. 2S. While your struggles are tests of faith, here's a profound truth. Being chosen by God doesn't come with an easy mode switch for life. Quite the opposite. It often feels like you've signed up for an extreme endurance challenge. But don't mistake these struggles for punishment. They are divine tests meticulously designed to refine and elevate you, not to break you. Joel captures this perfectly. Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because, having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him. The key word here is perseveres. God is not interested in how well you perform when life is smooth. He's looking for steadfast faith when the storm hits. Imagine you're in a spiritual gym. Each trial is a weight designed to strengthen your faith muscles. Without resistance, there's no growth. Think of Job, a biblical icon of resilience. God allowed his faith to be tested, not to destroy him, but to showcase the unshakable foundation of his trust in the Almighty. Job's life was stripped of comfort and stability, but his response was an anthem of faith. Though he slay me, yet will I trust him. Job 13:15. This wasn't blind optimism. It was a deep-rooted belief that God's plans are always purposeful, even when incomprehensible. Life's trials are like unexpected plot twists in a story. One moment, everything's serene, and the next, you're through. It's as if God's saying, let's see how you navigate this chapter. Meanwhile, you're thinking, can we skip to the blessings part already? But here's the catch. The blessings are often hidden within the trials. Each test sharpens your character, deepens your reliance on God, and prepares you for greater responsibility. Consider this. Without tests, there's no testimony. Without battles, there's no victory. And without faith, it's impossible to please God. Hebrews 11:6. Faith is not merely intellectual agreement. It's trust in action. It's believing in God's promises even when your circumstances seem to contradict them. Think of refining gold. To purify it, the metal must endure intense heat, allowing impurities to rise to the surface. Similarly, trials bring out the impurities in us: fear, doubt, impatience, so they can be surrendered to. What remains as a faith is pure and valuable as refined gold. Yes, the chosen path is difficult. You might feel isolated, misunderstood, or stretched beyond your limits. But take heart. Every struggle is a step toward your purpose. Like a diamond, pressure is part of your formation. God is preparing you for something greater than you can imagine, and every test you pass brings you closer to the crown of life He has promised. So, when the storm rages, remember, you're not. God's grace is sufficient. His strength is made perfect in weakness, 2 Corinthians 12:9. And His plans for you are good, Jeremiah 29. Keep going, celestial ones. The trials are temporary, but the glory is eternal. How to tell if you're one of God's chosen. 5 unmistakable signs. Have you ever felt like your life has been uniquely shaped by something greater than yourself? It's almost like God's hand is guiding you, even when the path isn't clear. If you've experienced this sense of divine presence, you might just be one of God's chosen. So, how can you be sure? Let's break it down with 5 unmistakable signs that reveal whether you're among the chosen ones. 1. You face unusual challenges. One of the clearest signs of being chosen is the presence of unusual, often difficult challenges in your life. While others might breeze through their journeys, you may find yourself dealing with situations that seem out of the ordinary. Why? Because God is preparing you for something extraordinary. These challenges serve as tests that refine and strengthen your character, teaching you lessons that will equip you to fulfill your divine purpose. Consider the story of Joseph in the Bible. He faced betrayal by his brothers, wrongful imprisonment, and years of hardship, yet these struggles were not in vain. They were all part of God's plan to elevate him to a position of power where he could save nations. Just like Joseph, you may face trials that seem unbearable, but trust that they are preparing you for something greater. Every obstacle you overcome is a stepping stone toward fulfilling your destiny. 2. You feel a deep sense of purpose. Even if you can't fully articulate it, you feel an undeniable sense of purpose. There's something inside you that whispers you are meant for more. This feeling is a powerful indicator of being chosen. It might not always be clear, but you know that your life has a higher calling. Moses experienced the same sense of purpose when he saw the burning bush in the desert. Though initially unsure of what he was being asked to do, Moses was chosen to lead the Israelites out of Egypt. Similarly, you may feel that you are being called to do something significant, whether it's serving others, building a community, or making a difference in the world. That inner drive and sense of purpose are not by accident. They are a divine nudge toward your three. You're often misunderstood. Being chosen often means walking a path that others don't understand. It's a lonely journey, but it's one that leads to extraordinary outcomes. Think of Noah, who built an ark in preparation for a flood no one believed was coming. Despite the ridicule and misunderstanding from those around him, Noah followed God's direction, and his faithfulness saved humanity. Similarly, you may find yourself misunderstood or even isolated because of your beliefs, values, or act. People may question why you do things that don't seem to make sense. But remember, just because others don't understand doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. Being misunderstood is often a sign that you are walking the narrow road that God has set before you. 4. You experience divine favor. Another unmistakable sign of being chosen is the experience of divine favor. Even when you feel unworthy or when others seem more deserving, God's blessings and opportunities keep finding their way to you. This is not by chance. God is orchestrating events to ensure that you have what you need to fulfill your divine purpose. Consider the story of David, a young shepherd boy overlooked by his family, yet chosen by God to be king. David's rise to prominence was filled with unexpected moments of favor, including his victory over Goliath. When you are chosen, God's favor is upon you, and he will open doors that no one can shut. 5. Your spirit resists conformity. Finally, if you're chosen, you won't fit into the world's mold. You may find yourself resisting societal pressures, norms, and expectations because God has called you to be different. Romans 12:2 reminds us not to conform to the patterns of this world, but to be transformed by the renewing of our minds. When you are chosen, your heart, mind, and spirit are being shaped to reflect God's kingdom, not the world's. Just as the Apostle Paul wrote in Romans, your transformation will set you apart from others. You may resist fitting into the standard narratives about success, relationships, or how life should be lived. Instead, your spirit gravitates toward higher principles, aligning with God's will rather than the fleeting trends of society. If you resonate with these 5 signs, facing unusual challenges, feeling a deep sense of purpose, being misunderstood, experiencing divine favor, and resisting conformity, there's a strong chance that you are one of God's chosen. Embrace the journey, for it is a path that leads to fulfillment, growth, and an ever-deepening relationship with your Creator. You may not always understand the full picture, but trust that God is guiding you every step of the way. You are chosen for a reason, and the world is waiting for you to step into your divine purpose. The role of faith in embracing your calling. Faith is one of the most powerful and transformative forces in the life of a believer. It's more than just believing in God or having a vague sense of hope. It's the ability to trust God even when you can't see the whole picture. Imagine you're in a spiritual laboratory surrounded by unknowns. You can't see the end result of God's work, but you trust that He's orchestrating everything for your good. This is the essence of faith. Hebrews 11:1 tells us, "Now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see." This verse encapsulates the powerful, unseen nature of faith. It's not just about hoping for something. It's about having confidence in God's promises, even when you can't physically witness the outcome. It's the firm belief that despite your circumstances, God is in control and working behind the scenes for your benefit. Think of it like a masterful artist painting a canvas. From a distance, you see a bunch of random strokes and colors, but up close, you can begin to see the masterpiece coming together. Faith allows you to step back and trust that the artist, God, knows exactly what He's doing, even if you can't see the bigger picture. Just as an artist blends colors and brushstrokes, God blends experiences, trials, and triumphs to create a divine narrative that's far beyond our understanding. Faith is like a microscope through which we begin to notice the subtle movements of God's hand in every detail of our lives. It's the lens that allows us to see beyond the surface of our circumstances and into the unseen work that God is. Without this lens, we would be limited to our human perspective, missing the divine orchestration unfolding around us. Let's consider a real-world example. Imagine you're facing a difficult situation, maybe a job loss, a relationship challenge, or a personal struggle. On the surface, it feels like chaos, maybe even a setback. But with faith, you're able to see beyond the immediate trouble. You trust that, though the road seems rocky, it's part of a greater plan. You may not understand why things are happening, but you trust that they're happening for a reason. The Bible teaches us that God works all things together for the good of those who love Him, Romans 8:28. And this is where faith comes in. Faith gives you the strength to press forward, even when the end goal is unclear. Faith doesn't just help us endure tough times. It enables us to thrive in them. It's a perspective shift that says, I don't know what tomorrow holds, but I know who holds tomorrow. It's about relying on God's wisdom and timing, trusting that He is with us in every trial, and that He has a purpose behind every challenge we face. Without faith, we might miss the beauty of how God is working. Like a master conductor leading an orchestra, each part of your life, the highs and lows, the unexpected turns, and even the painful moments, plays a role in the symphony of God's perfect plan. When you have faith, you start to hear the music, see the grand design, and trust the process. In conclusion, faith isn't just a passive belief in God's existence. It's an active trust in His plan for your life. It's the confidence that even when we can't see the full picture, God is in control, and while we may not always understand the journey, faith assures us that, in the end, God is working all things together for our good. Just as a scientist trusts the unknown elements in an experiment, faith is the assurance that God's work is always for our benefit. Even when we can't see how it all fits together, how to step into your calling, stepping into your role as the chosen one isn't about simply accepting a title. It's about living out the profound purpose that God has designed specifically for you. If you've realized you're chosen, the next step is to actively embrace and step into that role with intention and action. Here are 3 practical steps to guide you on this transformative journey. 1. Surrender your will. The first and most vital step is to let go of your own plans and surrender to God's greater purpose for your life. It's human nature to want to control our destiny, but we are reminded in Isaiah 55:9 that God's ways are higher than ours. When you align with His will, you invite divine guidance, trusting that He knows what's best for you. This doesn't mean giving up dreams or ambitions, but allowing your desires to flow in harmony with His purpose. Think of it like a GPS. You may have your own route planned, but God's direction will always lead you to the best destination, even if the road is unexpected. 2. Stay connected to God. Just like you need Wi-Fi to stay connected in today's world, staying spiritually connected to God is crucial to walking in your divine calling. Prayer is your lifeline, your direct communication with the Creator. Dive into Scripture, where you'll find His promises and wisdom, reminding you of your worth and purpose. Fellowship with other believers is also essential. It's through community that we draw strength, encouragement, and accountability. John 15:5 says, I am the vine. You are the branches. To flourish in your calling, you must remain rooted in Him. You would serve others. Your calling as the chosen one isn't just about you. It's about how God can use you to impact others. Matthew 28 says, the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve. Just as Jesus served, you too are called to help and uplift those around you. Whether it's through acts of kindness, offering wisdom, or being a source of comfort, your service magnifies God's glory. When you focus on others, you fulfill your divine purpose in a way that's bigger than your own life. Think of it like this. You're the MVP on God's team. Don't sit on the bench, get in the game. Embrace your calling with full confidence, knowing that every step you take aligns you closer with His divine plan for your life. Celestial ones, being chosen isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. It's about trusting the divine process, even when you don't understand it. Your trials are not wasted. Your tears are not unseen. Your faith is not in vain. Remember this, your blood has been tested in the lab of heaven, and the results are in. You are chosen, loved, and destined for greatness. Having said this,